Black patriarch.
The maker of this video is stupid. Blacks all over the world are the same. So-called light-skinned blacks are not our people.
Harvard University had just enrolled a record number of African Americans. And that's not just women. I'm talking about women and men, females and males. Oh yes, don't never count us out. I always tell people never to count us out. The fact that we rose out of slavery is enough proof for me that we can survive anything. Why you think I don't make these self-demagoguing hating videos? For what? Why should I discourage my people when I can encourage my people? This is proof that with enough encouragement, we can do anything.
What we're seeing at our upper level, our elite educational institution, is the blacks there are primarily black multiracials and black immigrants. So if you go to Harvard, if you go to Yale, if you go to Columbia, probably less than 20% of the blacks are African American and 80% of them are going to be black immigrants or black multiracials.
You could say Elmont High School senior Harold Etke has a true A game.
My mom was next to me when I opened the last acceptance, and she was screaming all over the place.
Harold's mother was screaming because Harold didn't get into 1 or 2 or even 3 Ivy League schools. He was admitted into all 8 with almost full scholarships to boot.
Never would I have expected to have been admitted into all the Ivy League universities. It's like getting hit by a brick.
Harold is the oldest of 5 siblings. He's also an Intel Science winner, the salutatorian for his graduating class, and scored a 2270 on his SATs. Science teacher Michelle Flannery says despite his success, Harold is the real deal.
He is a gem and a
model student here.
Harold attributes much of his success to his parents, who immigrated here to Long Island from Nigeria because they wanted to give their sons a better education.
I'm really grateful to them, you know, for kind of raising us in a way that we know that whatever we set our minds to, we can definitely accomplish it.
I'm still in awe of what is going on, what is happening.
Besides being super smart and really good looking, Harold and his brothers, they sing.
I'm not a whiz kid. I'm not not even smart. Like, I just think that through hard work and perseverance and dedication, you can accomplish anything you'd like to be.
Do you have that flow chart?
You could say this Elmont Memorial High School senior is at the top of her game, academically speaking. Augusta Uwamanzuna has a 101.6 grade point average. She was an Intel Science finalist, and the 17-year-old has just learned that she's been accepted to all 8 Ivy League schools. Now, Augusta has one big decision to make by May 1st. She's not only been accepted to the 8 Ivy League schools, but 4 others as well: Rensselaer, NYU, MIT, and Johns Hopkins.
I'm still quite unsure about what school I'm going to attend, but I know attending one of those schools, any of them, would be such a great honor. But for now, it's just so amazing. Like, I just really can't believe it still.
My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya.
You and Mr. Obama are of the same race, but not from the same heritage. Do you feel you are more personally in touch with African Americans than he, because you are a descendant of slaves?
I simply observed a fact. I didn't make any conclusions from that fact. I wouldn't do so.
Obama will announce his candidacy this weekend at the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln made his stirring House Divided speech. How historic. At a building made famous by the man who freed the slaves, Obama isn't the descendant of slaves. His father emigrated from Kenya in 1959, and his mom is the Swiss Miss Girl. Some are even claiming that the senator has not lived the, quote, black experience, and it may affect his support in the African-American community. Here to explain is columnist for Salon.com and author of the book, The End of Blackness, Deborah Dickerson. Ms. Dickerson, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Is Barack Obama black?
No, he's not. In the American political context, black means the son of West African, the descendant of West African slaves brought here to labor in the United States. It's not a put down. It's not to say that he hasn't suffered. It's not to say that he doesn't have a glorious lineage of his own. It's just to say that he and I, who am descended from West African slaves brought to America, we are not the same. And he's also a person who has adopted the role of being black. So he's not he's a brother, but he's an adopted brother. And the significance of this, he's a beloved adopted brother. The significance
So he's like a
this,
redheaded stepchild. You can slap him around a little bit and nobody's going to care.
But we love him just the same.
Okay, all right. But so it sounds to me like you are judging blackness not on the color of someone's skin, but on the content of their character.
No, it's not the content of our characters, the content of our history and our culture. And what we're doing by calling him black is obliterating the culture of his Kenyan father.
Well, I would say that there are many experiences of being black in America. That's probably always been true, but is maybe more true now. So if there's change, that change is probably toward multiplicity of experience. I mean, Barack Obama is running for the U.S. presidency, and despite what Stanley Crouch and Deborah Dickerson say, he's a black guy.
Well, I use race as a synonym for ethnicity, or I use ethnicity as a synonym for race. The usual idea of race is that it's a fixed biological category that's inherited from generation to generation. But there's a great deal of subjectivity in race itself. So this is why I prefer to use the term ethnicity. And basically it's a form of identity, you know, thinking about where your ancestors came from.
Determining ethnicity is related to country of origin, ancestry, and shared language. Hispanic, for instance, is an ethnicity, not a race.
Hispanic is attached to people whose origins can be traced to countries where there was Spanish conquest. So they are Spanish-speaking countries.
A Fox segment on how Michelle Obama is fair game as long as you stick to the issues. But the on-screen graphic includes the insult Obama's baby mama, which in urban slang means an unwed mother, often a minority unwed mother. How does the Obama campaign answer crap like this?
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly reporting tonight from Los Angeles. Thank you for watching us. Does Michelle Obama dislike America? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Campaigning yesterday for her husband in Wisconsin, Mrs. Obama said something that has caused major controversy, and she said it twice.
Let me tell you something. For the first time in my adult life, I am proud of my country because it feels like hope is finally making a comeback.
Now, the problem with that statement is the words, "For the first time in my adult life, I am proud of my country." Perhaps Michelle Obama simply misspoke. That happens all the time when you give speeches, but Mrs. Obama said it twice in two different speeches.
One of the key moments in the campaign, of course, was her saying, you know, for the first time, I'm proud of my country. And there was a lot of uproar and hullabaloo behind that. We understood exactly what she was saying, and she was right.
Yeah, but also, Teray, you must recall that was really taken out of context of what she said. See, because I wrote a column for the Daily News about that, in which I put the entire quote in, which she says, in which he said, and not because Barack just won in Iowa, but because my experience traveling across this great country brought me in contact with people who proved at this particular time, people can see beyond whether somebody's from the south side of Chicago or as a farmer from the Midwest, that people can really begin to unite on specific kinds of human issues that we have in common. So see, the fact that they cut that part out of what she said to make it seem that she was saying something very different than what she was, see, I think that part of our responsibility is to make sure that anytime somebody brings that up, just push it back down their throat with the facts.
We have supported state terrorism against the Palestinians and black South Africans, and now we are indignant because the stuff we have done overseas is now brought right back into our own front yards. America's chickens are coming home to roost.
Congress passes the most sweeping civil rights bill ever to be written into the law, and thus reaffirms the conception of equality for all men that began with Lincoln and the Civil War 100 years ago. The Negro won his freedom then. He wins his dignity now. 5 hours after the House passes the measure, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is signed at the White House by President Johnson. Before an audience of legislators and civil rights leaders who had labored long and hard for passage of the bill, President Johnson calls for all Americans to back what he calls a turning point in history.
As he prepared to sign a bill at Ellis Island, President Lyndon B. Johnson gave a short speech to those that had come to witness the signing.
This bill that we will sign today is not a revolutionary bill. It does not affect the lives of millions. It will not reshape the structure of our daily lives or really add importantly to either our wealth or our power.
He could not have been further from the truth. The bill he signed was the Hart-Celler Immigration Bill, also known as the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. This act marked a turning point in American immigration policy. European immigrants were given a yearly quota of 149,667 people, while Asian and African immigrants faced quotas of 2,990 and 1,400 people, respectively. Shortly after Kennedy's assassination, the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 was proposed by Representative Emanuel Celler and co-sponsored by Senator Philip Hart. It was also supported by Senator Ted Kennedy. Representative Celler, himself the grandson of immigrants and a strong opponent of the 1924 Immigration Act, had once said that one of the things he cared about passionately was immigration law, and he thought that the bill would help to end discrimination due to place of birth.
People who opposed the immigration policy of 1965 to a good extent wanted to keep the ethnic makeup of America consistent and without any drastic changes.
The demographical change that the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 caused has had drastic implications for American politics. The influence of the Hispanic voting bloc, which was virtually non-existent and powerless before the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, has become ever more apparent, especially in the 2012 presidential election.
It's official. Latinos now outnumber non-Hispanic whites in California. I'm John Phillips, and this is Pole Position. According to newly released census polling data as of July 1st, 2014, the Latino population of California was 14.99 million. The population of non-Latino whites was 14.92 million, which means that Latinos are now the largest ethnic group in the state for the first time ever. In 1970, there were only 2.4 million Latinos living in the Golden State. By 1990, that number had more than tripled to 7.7 million. Last year, 2014, the number was all the way up to almost 15 million. Nationally, the Latino population has risen from 12% of the population in 2000 to 17% in the latest numbers from last year. That may not seem like much, but Latinos accounted for 56% of the total increase in population in the United States in the decade between 2000 and 2010.
For a long, long time, Hispanics were in this position, no, with politicians, actually like asking for things, and now they're starting to change that position and just stand up straight and just demand things from the political process. And that, to go from this to this is just a couple of inches, but it's absolutely crucial when it comes to how relevant a certain population becomes in a country. And that's what we are seeing very clearly with Hispanics in the United States.
My name is Claudia Botero, and I'm a reporter here at Univision Channel 34 in Los Angeles. I'm very proud of being a Latina. I'm Colombian. I came here when I was 8 years old, and I've definitely seen this huge change. People did not want to speak the language because they didn't want to have an accent. They were afraid of being discriminated. Now, we don't care, because that is not happening as much here in California. Now we want to speak our language. We want everybody to know that we're very proud, and we're going to continue speaking our language, obviously learning English as well and assimilating into this country, but not forgetting where we came from.
County Sheriff's deputies are investigating 2 hate crimes in Compton. In one case, authorities say gang members repeatedly terrorized an African-American family. New at 6, NBC4's Michelle Valles live in Compton. Michelle, what are residents telling you tonight about what happened?
Well, they simply say the demographics here are changing. For instance, this is an African-American Baptist church behind me that is now in the middle of what is now a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. And they say recently a Mexican street gang tagged that church, and deputies say it's more hate crimes that's happening between those 2 groups.
It's like you might as well just put a hood on your head and ride around and just say, you know, we don't like black people. I mean, it'd be better like that.
LaFrancis says the racial street war continues in Compton, differing from block to block. Sharon Smith says her black neighbor couldn't even walk home one time.
He was trying to come home after work, but he was chased home by Mexican Americans.
Then there was New Year's Eve, 153rd Street. Deputies say Mexican gang members threatened a black man walking home, beat him up. 30 minutes later, up to 20 Mexican gang members surrounded his home, threw a beer bottle through the window, shouted the N-word, and told him they couldn't live there because of their race. These 2 armed gang members were arrested for the reported hate crime.
They're strictly from gangs, exactly, and we're doing our best.
It's not a gang thing. It's a it's a power thing.
And nothing new, LaFrancis says, who claims he was jumped by 10 Latinos in 10th grade. But what is changing are the demographics and the crackdown on hate crimes in the area.
say some shit to y'all that I seen yesterday that made me smile, but it hurt me to my heart. There's a house next door to me that's been abandoned, and the yard, the grass high as hell and everything. There's a couple of abandoned cars out there beside the house. Well, yesterday I get off work about 7 o'clock. A Mexican guy pulled up. He said, "These your cars?" I said, "No." He said, "I just bought this house, man." I said, "All right." It's fucking 9 Mexican trucks just pulled up. They got fucking beer, lights, and shit, right? So I'm like, what y'all finna do? He said, "We finna fix this house." I said, "What kind of crew you got working after 7 o'clock? He said, "These my friends." The fucking house is fixed this morning. They went in there and drywalled that fucking house. Wow. I just don't think they're better than us. I just think we won't do nothing together.
But so the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that are going to drive us in this underclass structure is that you're going to have an unending influx of immigrants into the country. And that's what Dr. Price is talking about. And nobody, no black politician, no black organization wants to deal with that issue. They will avoid it at all costs, even though in their hearts they know that's one of the biggest problems for black folk. We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4. And the worst part about it is as you descend and go down to number 4, those other groups are going to go up. And as they go past you, you're going to have major racial clashes in this country. And as they go past you, you're going to have major racial clashes in this country. You're going to have major racial clashes in this country. You're going to have fights all over this country between blacks and Hispanics, blacks and Asians, blacks and poor whites. And black folk cannot fight all these groups. Everybody can not always be against black folk. They know that we are vulnerable and we are defenseless. And we cannot fight those groups. Because you see, they didn't come into this country with the legacies that we are stuck with. Everybody in America has an advantaged position but black folk. But all are in a state of denial. But they're going to keep running these games on black folk. And at the same time, we got black folk that are accepting that. So what I'm saying now is that you're going to have this massive influx of immigrants into the country that are better equipped. They don't have your legacies. They don't have your disadvantages. They're walking across the border. They're going to get a free lunch. They don't have to pay dues. But you got public policies in this country that are equating them to black folk. They're equating them to black, and what we've allowed them to do, starting in 1970, is to wrap themselves in black folks' suffering and pretend somehow they suffered along with black folk. And what they are doing is coming into the country and doing what we've never been allowed to do and we've never been bright enough to do in some senses, is to build your own communities. You got to build your communities. You see, every group that when they leave their homeland, the last thing they do is look in the mirror. They look in the mirror and say, I'm going to America. And I'm going to go to America, I'm going to find me a community or neighborhood. Or I'm going to build one with people who look like me. And so that's why you go all over this nation, where they're coming out of Asia. You will find Vietnamese towns all over California, little Cambodias. You'll find a Chinatown in every major city. You'll see the Hispanics come in, they'll build a little Mexico, a little Havana, a little Hialeah. You find little Italys, French towns, German towns, Greek towns, Polish towns, but you cannot find one black town. And we are the only people that keep trying to integrate. We are the only people, rather than looking in the mirror and saying, I see somebody that looks like me, I want to go find and build me a community of people who look like me. We are doing just the opposite.
Yeah, I think we should vote. I mean, but at the end of the day, you know, this two-party system is a two wings, one bird. It's still flying in the same direction. And so I think we've been fooled into thinking, Martin King said, that don't join either party. He said, use both of the parties if they support your interests. He said that if you can get the Republican Party to support your interests, then deal with the Republican Party. He said, but don't give your allegiance to either one. What happened after King died was people like Jesse Andrew Young and all those guys under the civil rights industrial complex system, they took the civil rights movement and threw it into the Democratic Party. We've been stuck there ever since.
Cornel West, where's our Reverend Jesse Jackson? Left to right.
What a blessing to be here today on this sunshine day. We want the world to know that we got a movement in place that says we want immigration reform now, and we gonna get it now. Oh yeah.
You make kind of a provocative comment in your new book here, Mugged, and I think it's on page 151. You write that various groups, feminists, gay rights groups, and those who are defending immigrants have commandeered the black civil rights experience.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that because I think it's one of the most important points of the book. I mean, I think the way liberals have treated blacks like children and many of their policies have been harmful to blacks. At least they got the beneficiary group right. We do have to, I mean, we shouldn't. There is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortions, but that's, or gays who want to get married to one another. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. They dropped the blacks after 5 minutes.
Immigrant rights are not civil rights?
No, I think civil rights are for blacks. No, I think civil rights are for blacks.
If Republicans don't do something with immigration, and if Republicans are so far away from Latinos, they're going to lose not only this election, they might lose the White House for generations.
The future.
And Texas to turn from red to blue.
That's why the Democrats are dropping the blacks and moving on to the Hispanics, because they're a larger group of Hispanics now.
It's a relatively new phenomenon, but about 1.1 million black African immigrants are now estimated to be residing in the U.S. and apparently at an uptick. Comprising 3% of the U.S.-born population, yet hold a majority when it comes to new visas. So why is that, and just what that immigration has looked like over the past few decades?
Today, there are about 1.1 million black African immigrants to the U.S., among the largest group of immigrants to the United States, having grown 200% in the 80s and 90s, over 100% in the 2000s. They reside in major metropolitan areas, particularly like here in the districts.
The diaspora is growing. According to the Migration Policy Institute, instability in some African countries has been a chief motivating factor.
Good to see you all. Please be seated.
Thank you very much for coming, everybody. And first, may I salute the Attorney General and Secretary Ed Derwinski, and also welcome the distinguished members of Congress who are with us today, Senator Kennedy and Senator Thurmond, Senator Simpson, Senator Simon. Ham Fish was to be here. Congressman Morrison and Lamar Smith are with us. I don't know whether Ham wedged into the back or not, but in any event, welcome to all of you. Today I am pleased to sign S-358, the Immigration Act of 1990. It is the most comprehensive reform of our immigration laws in 66 years.
Sir.
There we go. Well done.
While Africans comprise 10% of all legal admissions into the United States, they account for 48% of what are considered diversity visa immigrants.
The diversity visa came about because the U.S. sort of government and Congress realized that with migration patterns that there was not the level of diversity that they could have. Particularly that some of the places that were really in many ways absent from migration were places like Africa, and also some other parts of the world. And so they came up with the diversity lottery as really as a means to diversify the migration that was going on. And I would say certainly since the diversity lottery came in place in 1990 or so, it has benefited tremendously in terms of it has benefited African immigrants tremendously.
Yeah, so
Another likely little-known fact about Africans, they're among the most educated immigrant population, which is another part of that compelling migratory factor.
I was very surprised. So I read this stat that say when you break down communities in the United States and you look at the most educated subgroup within the United States, more than any other category, it's not, it's not Caucasians, it's not Asian Americans, it's African immigrants
yes.
in the United States. It was very surprising.
Africa continues to battle issues of unemployment, substandard education, access to healthcare, and more. These problems are compounded by a so-called brain drain, that is, the loss of professionals to better-paying jobs overseas. As Aaron Ocheng reports, brain drain robs the continent of as many as 1/3 of its professionals and continues to be one of Africa's biggest development challenges.
Almost 30% of professionals leave Africa for greener pastures each year. This exodus has been termed the brain drain. According to the World Bank, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and Ethiopia are hardest hit, with professionals looking for better career, financial, and political climates. The drain takes place mostly in senior management professions such as medicine, engineering, technical, and agriculture.
Civil rights has been in the news lately, and there is no question that many African Americans feel they are still being denied the same opportunities as white Americans. John Stossel went out to sample opinion.
Is there less racism now?
No, more.
More now?
Yeah, I think so. It's hidden.
And Malcolm X said, if you stick a knife in my back 6 inches and pull it out 4 inches, that's not progress.
Racism still exists. It still exists. It still exists, and it's got to stop. And everybody's talking about it's better than 1948 when I was born. Yes, it is, but guess what, folks? Marginal.
Back in the book segment tonight, a follow-up to my talking points memo on why some African Americans are failing in the marketplace. It's mostly about poor education, fractured families, and a culture that does not prepare folks to compete in the competitive marketplace. To make that point, I compared African Americans to Asian Americans. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, unemployment for Asians, 4.5%, 11.4% for blacks, 5.3% for whites. Out of wedlock births, 17% for Asians, 29% for whites, a whopping 72% for blacks.
But the main point, the evidence against it, I think, is that black African immigrants who are often darker than American blacks, thrive in America. If there's so much racism, how do Nigerians do so well? They out-earn the average white American.
Well, because they are motivated and they'll do jobs that other people
They have
do.
two parents,
right.
And they were raised differently.
Increase the population to a point where we can make the black males that are suffering from this mentality a minority.
So the only way African liberation is going to be successful, people, is through the global effort of all Africans around the globe. You will be surprised how many cultures can trace their DNA back to Africa, people. We're talking about Middle Easterners, Indonesians, Australians, even we got brothers and sisters up there in Canada. And in case y'all didn't know, Mexicans and Hispanics are African people, okay?
We understand that, as African Americans, yes, we're not racially pure, so to speak. But the move would be in that direction. The move would be bringing in some Africans who got blacker genes, or bringing in some Caribbean blacks or some Haitians who got some blacker genes, and making it blacker and blacker and blacker and blacker and blacker, to the point where, it's not an issue anymore.
It's crunch time at Afric Mall, a new shopping center that's days from opening its doors in Aurora, Colorado.
Lots of excitement. Adrenaline is pumping.
24 shops, a movie theater, and cultural center will fill this 5,000 square meter space, along with 6 restaurants.
Yes, 6 excellent restaurants from 6 African countries. The other side.
It's the first African-themed mall in Colorado. There are very few in the United States.
Basically, it's for us to be able to bring Africa to America.
There's a renaissance of an African spirit in the community.
Kobina Lartson, Afric Mall's founder, will have lots of potential customers to draw from. Almost 10% of Colorado's population is foreign-born, more than twice the percentage of 2 decades ago. And in that time, the number of African-born residents here has also more than doubled.
So it's not an accident that, for example, many of the Ethiopians have immigrated to a place like Washington, D.C., or that we have a pretty vibrant community of Nigerians that are in places like Atlanta, or that we have a large Somali community in places like Minnesota, etc. Those are also to network in Texas, right?
Just learned,
absolutely. That is because when one group settles in, message goes back to say this is a good place to come to. You have a community to come to, and in addition, that community really serves as an anchor on so many fronts, in that they provide really more support, but also they provide in many cases economic support, and they often help you transition to jobs.
But here's the thing, and I got into a debate with an African professor. It was a very friendly debate, but it was a public debate because she said that sometimes Americans or Europeans romanticize Africa, and they think everybody in Africa loves each other, everybody gets along. And she said that's not true. She said, here I live in South Africa, and some of the people that undermine me the most are other black people and stuff like that. And I said, yeah, that's true. I said, however, if you're in a place where the majority of the population is black, you're still going to have enemies. You're still going to have haters, or whatever people want to call it. You're still going to have people that undermine you, but at least they're undermining you for some reason other than the fact that you're black. In the United States, you have people where the first thing they notice about you when they see you is that you're black. That's it. And at that point, everything else is uphill because you're constantly trying to prove to them that you're a decent person, that you're an intelligent person, that you're a capable and competent person, etc. We get denied jobs because we're black. We get thrown in prison because we're black. We get shot down in the street because we're black. I said, in Africa, I don't really think too many people are going to kill me or keep me out of a job or keep me incarcerated just because I'm black.
Tanzanians stand out in the crowd of fellow Africans whose countries have been affected by tribal hatred and division. Here, tribalism is almost non-existent. Since creation of the nation, founding fathers cultivated unity under the leadership of the first president, Julius Nyerere.
We will not eject anyone based on their tribe. If you do that, it is a great sin. It is also not proper to choose someone with no credentials just because he is from your tribe. This is nonsense.
13 years after his death, many people believe he single-handedly saved Tanzania from the claws of tribalism that seem to be haunting other parts of the continent today.
I'm not saying that there is no tribalism in Tanzania. I mean, because it's not at a level that's threatening.
Perhaps because there are more than 120 different tribes, none has been able to dominate on a political, economic, or cultural level. Education policies have also had an effect. The promotion of boarding schools meant that children from different backgrounds were scattered all over the country, promoting togetherness, removing tribal identification and belonging. Ima and Janet Bunguni, who come from different tribes and have been married for 10 years, could not agree more.
With intermarriages, it taught us not to look at our differences in background as to where you come from, where I come from.
The majority of Tanzanians still practice tribal customs, but that has not been allowed to stand in the way of non-tribal thinking. Since independence, all 4 of the country's presidents have been from different tribes, displaying that the voting patterns in the country have less to do with tribalism and more to do with evicting corrupt politicians via a democratic process.
when you come to the US, before I speak, I'm assumed to be African American first. And then when I speak, then I have an accent. And so where do you come from? And so the color of my skin defines me first. The color of my skin defines me first.
The color of my skin defines me first.
To talk about the whole Beyonce / Sarah Baartman controversy. So what happened is that the other day, it was announced that Beyonce was slated to play Sarah Baartman. And for those of you who don't know who Sarah Baartman is, she was a woman who was enslaved and brought over to France and all through Europe because she had an exceptionally large butt. She came from a tribe in South Africa, and a lot of these white men who saw her, they really looked at her body as some type of odyssey. So they promised her money and fortune and fame and everything else, and they basically tricked her into coming with them to Europe. So she ends up traveling all through Europe, and they end up prostituting her. Men would just sleep with her, treat her any type of way. She was literally a walking freak show. People would just come and just stare at her butt. This young woman, Sarah Baartman, ends up dying at the age of 25. And she ends up dying from like all types of diseases and STDs and everything. She lived a really, really horrific life. And up until 2002, the French government, they kept her private parts in a jar. They also kept parts of her anatomy. They had like this big sculpture of her. So it's just really a really sad story. Where the controversy comes in is that the other day was announced that Beyonce was slated to play Sarah Baartman. So when folks heard this, people started going off on social media. People were going off on Instagram and on Twitter and saying that Beyonce has no business playing this role. A lot of South Africans were mad. And a woman named Jean Burgess, who is from Sarah Baartman's tribe, also stated this comment. I'm gonna go ahead and read to you guys what Jean had to say about Beyonce. She says that Beyonce lacks a human dignity to be worthy of writing Sarah's story, let alone playing the part of Sarah Baartman. Now, do I feel like Beyonce would have been the right cast for Sarah Baartman? Of course not. She's not shaped like Sarah Baartman, and why not cast people from Sarah Baartman's tribe as opposed to casting an African American who has nothing to do with that culture? You know, that doesn't make any sense. I never understood why people bought into it in the first place. To me, it just didn't make any sense.
Mr. President, in the South, there have been thousands of racially motivated murders.
We need your help. Dr. King, this thing's just gonna have to wait. It cannot wait. You got one big issue, I got 101.
Summer it is.
Here is the next great battle.
Selma's the place, and they ready.
Dr. King.
I tell you, that white boy can hit.
We will not tolerate agitators attempting to orchestrate a disturbance in this state.
It is unacceptable that they use their power to keep us voiceless. Those that have gone before us say no more.
People actually say they're gonna kill our children. They're trying to get inside of your head.
And playing the role of Tupac's mother is none other than famed actress who plays Michonne on The Walking Dead.
Son, this ain't just about you. Like all black men, you have a bullseye on your back.
I won't deny it.
people are taking note of Representative-elect Mia Love, the first black Republican female to ever claim a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Former Utah Republican Party Chair Thomas Wright says she is a natural ambassador for the party.
And so that's the exciting part about Mia Love, is she can take us, the party, into places that it's been hard. We've had a limited reach to share those great conservative messages that we know are great for the country.
Her story is captivating the nation, and a new biography produced locally is providing a compelling look into her life.
The RNC is pointing to the story of how Mia's parents came to this country from Haiti with just $10 in their pockets. One of 3 children, Mia says she was raised to work hard and is making it her mission to give back to society.
If you hear about reparations, get this very firmly fixed in your mind. You're not here for a parlor discussion. It's not something to talk about that's nice. If you don't get reparations as black folk, you're through in this country. Let me be that very specific for you. You see, what's happening to black Americans is that black Americans have been systematically, socially engineered into the lowest level of a real-life monopoly game. You do not own and control a sufficient amount of anything to be competitive in America. And you've been marginalized now for 400 years. You're getting ready to be buried. You can get buried underneath a whole broad groups of ambiguous groupings. That's everything from culture groups, language groups, and gender groups. You're going down. It's no longer an issue. You better get reparations and get it fast.
Welcome. The young man you're about to meet is out to change how we think and talk about race, and he just might do it, beginning with this cover story in the new issue of the Atlantic magazine. Its provocative title is The Case for Reparations. Yes, reparations, defined in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as the act of making amends or giving satisfaction for a wrong or injury. The wrong or injury in question is what President Lyndon Johnson once called slavery's ancient brutality and the terrible things that have followed it in the name of white supremacy enforced by state power. This article is must-reading for every American. The author is the journalist Ta-Nehisi Coates, who grew up in Baltimore, lives in Harlem, and teaches writing at MIT. He's now a senior editor of The Atlantic, where in this issue he writes, the payment of reparations would represent America's maturation out of the childhood myth of its innocence into a wisdom worthy of its founders.
He is an African American, or he is an
Should we
American.
think of a new name for what he is?
We do. We need a new name because
what about
there's
nouveau black? You know, late to the scene blackness.
Well.
What do you think that's happened with Black America, say in the last 8 years since we've had our first black president?
No, you haven't. As a matter of fact, you're deteriorating. As the Obama administration has done more bad than they've done good for black folk. They simply prioritize a whole new flock of fabricated immigrant groups and minority groups that are putting them over black folk. We're in a world of trouble. And the biggest thing that Obama has done is injurious to black folk. The mere fact that he was publicized as being a black president. He's not a black president. He's an African American. He's not a black American. There's a distinct difference between an African American and a black American. And he does not fully understand the nature of black folks.
Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., I was one of those invited to the White House for a community briefing, and this was on April 23, 2013. Organized by the Office of Public Engagement, the briefing was designed in a two-panel discussion. Panel 1's topic was the Obama administration engagement with the African and Caribbean diaspora. This was a non-press event, so our cameras were off. However, various issues were debated during the question and answer session, with the speakers describing the immigration reform bill and its implications. They encouraged the African and Caribbean communities to unite in one voice and send their messages collectively to Congress. There was also talk about repealing the green card lottery, otherwise known as the diversity visa lotto, which in the past, half of its beneficiaries have been from African countries. We spoke to a few beneficiaries and supporters of this DV lotto outside the White House and DC area.
I came here years ago through that program, and that has benefited me, benefited my family, and as a result of that, I'm able to do more, donating back to the community, having events and shows, and employing individuals as well.
We know we are trying to tell President Obama that it's imperative that during the immigration reform, that they think about keeping the DV lottery and not canceling it.
African immigrants will come here through the diversity visa, and it means a lot to us because when we come here, we work so hard to feed our family, to get on track, to do whatever the government expects of us, and so we just need that same expectation from the government.
One of the major benefactors of the DV program is actually the United States, and so I think that that's something that hasn't really been discussed during the debates about the elimination of the lottery.
We just came back from the rally at the White House, so right now we want to give a pledge form for Chuck Schumer to fill out. He says he's for Africans. He has 500,000 Africans in New York City. We want to find out from him, so many other state and local elected officials have signed the pledge saying that they support the diversity visa, including Congresswoman Corinne Brown, and I have the form right here, as well as the Philadelphia City Council. So we want to find out from the senator, what is he going to do for the New Yorkers, the hair braiders up and down Fulton Street in Harlem, the cab drivers, the doctors, the African students, and yeah, that's what we want to find out. The bill, the immigration bill right now is right here in the Senate, in the full Senate, and he is part of the Gang of Eight.
This story I'm about to tell you about causing a lot of tension online and is trending. A textbook company going to rewrite a section in one of its school books after a mother's complaint on Facebook went viral.
So Roni Dean Buren took issue with this passage. It reads, quote, "The Atlantic slave trade brought millions of workers from Africa to the southern United States." She says the term workers implies wages and essentially whitewashes the role slavery had in bringing Africans to America.
Roni Dean Buren shared this cell phone video on social media.
This is a part of the Texas textbook adoption.
After her son Kobe texted her about an alarming passage in his textbook
about Africans coming over as workers.
Kobe sent her this image, which reads,
"The Atlantic slave trade between the 1500s and the 1800s brought millions of workers from Africa to the southern United States to work on agricultural plantations."
That map is under a section heading called Patterns of Immigration.
Immigrants. Yeah. That word matters.
In the next section, the text mentions English and European people,
many of whom came as indentured servants to work for little or no pay. So they say that about English and European people, but there is no mention of Africans working as slaves or being slaves. It just says we were workers.
Dean Buren contacted the publisher, McGraw-Hill, to express her concerns. The company responded on Facebook, saying in part, "We conducted a close review of the content and agreed that our language in that caption did not adequately convey that Africans were both forced into migration and to labor against their will as slaves. We believe we can do better." The company has agreed to change the digital version of the book immediately and will correct the text in the next printing of this particular book. Dean Burren was thrilled to get such a quick response from McGraw-Hill, posting on social media, "This is change, people. This is why your voices matter." She encourages other students and parents to speak up.
In 2006 saw the largest protest in U.S. history. Over 2 million people across the country took to the streets for immigrant rights.
I was very concerned. There was just a huge absence of black immigrants and African Americans. And as a black immigrant serving or working in the African American church and community, that was pretty alarming to me.
My concern in 2006 was that the immigration issue was an issue very dear to African Americans.
So what I'm saying now is that you're going to have this massive influx of immigrants into the country. But you got public policies in this country that are equating them to black folk. They're equating them to black, and what we've allowed them to do, starting in 1970, is to wrap themselves in black folks' suffering and pretend somehow they suffered along with black folk.
We then realized that there is a direct connection between the ongoing civil rights movement or struggle and the current immigrant rights movement or immigrant rights struggle, and through the difficult conversations and the deep discussions that we have, the Black Alliance for Just Immigration was born.
There is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortions, but that's or gays who want to get married to one another. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. They dropped the blacks after 5 minutes.
Immigrant rights are not civil rights?
No, I think civil rights are for blacks.
So the major problem with the anti-immigrant movement is that it undermines and effectively reverses the gains of the civil rights movement. African Americans historically fought for their rights in this country, and what we're seeing is that the same forces that fought so hard to oppress African Americans are now extending their fight to immigrants, and primarily immigrants of color.
The Black Alliance for Just Immigration primarily was formed to talk to African Americans about some of their questions or distrust around immigration or immigrants, and answer some of the questions that get put out, particularly in the media, trying to pit one group against another.
So in African American communities, we're seeing a lot of unemployment, very high unemployment if you look across the country, and many people blame that on immigrants. And what we say is that it would benefit both groups if immigrants and African Americans would come together and fight for social and economic justice for all of us.
The title of my remarks is going to be on the changing racial and ethnic ancestry of blacks in the United States. And this, to a certain extent, gets to your question about what's the proper term. Is it black? Is it African American? Historically in the United States, there were very few voluntary descendants of Africa who came to the United States. The overwhelming majority of us were brought during chattel slavery. However, since the 1960s, we've seen an extraordinary increase in voluntary black immigration into the United States. And this is changing the racial, changing the ethnic ancestry of blacks in the United States. And I want to talk about the implications of that. So I'm going to start with black immigrants. So can you go to the next slide? Okay. In 1970, only 1.1% of the black population was foreign-born. This increases to 4.9% in 1990, to 8.8% in 2010, and actually goes up to 10% in 2012. So right now, 1 out of 10 blacks in the United States are foreign-born. Indeed, if you just go to New York, a majority of the blacks you see in New York City are actually foreign-born. So you're not actually interacting with African Americans, you're interacting with Nigerians, with Ghanaians, with Jamaicans. Their concern is about what's going on in Ghana, what's going on in Nigeria, not the struggles of African Americans. There's some very distinct differences between the cultural identity of black immigrants and the cultural identity of African Americans. Black immigrants immigrate to the United States for the same reason everyone else does. They're optimistic about coming to the United States. Their home culture, or their cultures are indoctrinated into them in their home society, not in the United States. They're not influenced by the history of the struggle against racism in the United States. Indeed, as I indicated earlier, I have been to Africa 10 times, South Africa 4 times. So when I'm in South Africa, I'm a black immigrant in a country with a history of racism of black people who are not my people. So when I'm in South Africa, I don't see myself as connected to the black South Africans. My concern is for my African Americans back home. And whites interact with me very differently than they interact with native South Africans, black South Africans. There's no history of discrimination against us. We're good friends. We can joke. They don't worry about what they say. I don't worry about what I say. And this is what's going on with black immigrants in the United States as well. They're simply having a very different experience with race than your African Americans. And of course, their percentages are increasing at fairly significant numbers. So all of this seems to suggest that we are really watching some fundamental shifts in the traditional struggle of the African American in the United States, and in some real way.
I had a teacher one time who was African, Nigerian to be exact. And he was a very good teacher, very intelligent teacher, very knowledgeable, very funny. And I remember in one class he was giving a lecture and he was talking about how when he first came to America, he was around a lot of black people. He came to Washington, D.C., my hometown, and he went to Howard University, and this is during the 60s. This is during, the height of the Civil Rights Movement. And so, we were, you had, James Brown, I'm Black and I'm Proud. A lot of the girls were wearing their fros, men were too. You had dashikis everywhere. People were very proud of their African heritage, and they were trying to embrace it and trying to experience it however they could. He had a hard time understanding why they felt the need to do that, why they felt it necessary to say I'm black and I'm proud, because the thought of saying I'm black and I'm proud never really dawned on him, because he came from a country where everybody was black. where, you know, of course I'm proud of being black, you know, and he really didn't understand what it felt like to be an American in this country, because in this country it's not really designed with us in mind. This country was not designed for us. This country was designed for white people, and this country best benefits white people. So they have a very, you know, very ideally, you know, ideal kind of view of America, and it's not necessarily rooted in fact or truth or what's really going on in America. They think America's a great country and it's all rainbows and sunshine, you know, and it's a great country opportunity and there's nothing bad there. And unfortunately, they don't see it the way that sometimes it can really be.
When you talk about the U.S. and Ghana, it's like the place to be.
Because our perception of America,
A place where everything is possible, the whole idea of an American dream.
and New York, Los Angeles, the big cities.
But what they have to understand, we have been oppressed to an extent. We have had disadvantages from the very first day we were free. And the thing is that they come here, they look down on black people, they basically assume the position. They assume the position that all immigrants who come here do. America, you know, that's just the way that it has been for us. And it's not right. It is not right to have some immigrant who just got here off the boat, the water ain't even fresh yet, and you have the audacity to look down at me, to look down your nose at me, and clutch your damn bag when I'm coming to the room. They look down on us because they don't understand our situation. They look down on us because they feel like they had a harder go than we had. They look down on us because they are just downright ignorant, and maybe they just have tribal mentality where they want to fight everybody. There's a little difference in them than it is in you, whatever it might be. They have issues with us, and it's not us that got the problem, it's them who got the problem, okay? Because this is our country, so get that real straight, and we not going anywhere.
Africans versus African Americans. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but there is a interracial beef, a interracial hatred, some interracial turmoil, and a interracial war between blacks born in Africa, pearl-blooded Africans, and blacks who are native to the United States of America, referred to as African Americans. There's war between Africans and African Americans. Africans, it's common knowledge in most places that Africans, not every single one of them, but a lot of them, a great majority of them, Africans are not very fond of African Americans. The most common idea and belief is that they don't like us because they feel like we have a superiority complex. We think we're better than them. We look down on them not only because of the conditions of their environment, but because many of us African Americans are said to be brainwashed, and we feel we look better than them because we are watered down with some European DNA. So therefore our African features are no longer as strong as they used to be. We're lighter than them. Some of us have looser texture hair than them. We don't look like pearl-blooded Negroes. We're watered down Negroes. We have brown and light skin now because of all of the racial intermixing and interracial sex that has taken place in the United States since African Americans been here. So that's what they think, that we look down on them. We feel like because we are in a wealthier society that we are somehow better than them, not only because of the condition of our society, but because of the way that we look. They think that we're brainwashed and that we don't embrace our Africanness and our African features, which is partly true. But how dare you motherfuckers think that you can blame us for being the way some of us might be, when it was you motherfuckers that sold us. That's a fact. You sold us. Our African ancestors sold us to the Europeans. They put us on boats and allowed the Europeans to ship us to Europe. And then they ultimately shipped us to America, known as the slave trade. We were raised up and we were living in a society that was predominantly white. We were brainwashed. Everything was taken away from us. Our families were divided. Our pride was taken away. We was brainwashed and conditioned, told every day that you are nothing, you are inferior because you are Negro, you are an animal, you're a second-class citizen. And not only did you profit off of us in one way, but now you're benefiting off of us again. Because now you Africans that want to migrate over here now, y'all didn't come over here when things was tough. Y'all didn't come over here doing slavery. But you got the motherfucking audacity to talk about us and our mentality when you are reaping the benefits of our deaths.
When you look at this kind of dichotomy between the young black youth here and the young black immigrants that come here, talk about that dynamic. I mean, there's a little bit of adversary relationship going on with regard to the stereotypes and misnomers around that, right?
We've got an Eyewitness News exclusive. Local students attacked and beaten at school. They say they've complained to school officials. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Lipoff is live in Elizabeth with more for us. Phil?
Well, Dinah, we spoke to 10 students today, 9 girls, 1 boy. They all say they have been jumped, beaten, attacked senselessly for no apparent reason. The 9 girls say not just by girls. They say they were jumped and punched by boys as well. They say this is all happening because they're Haitian.
Oh my God!
Crying on the street across from her high school, Regina Augustine says she's too scared to go in. She doesn't want to get beat up again, and she's not alone.
We can learn when we're scared.
This group of Haitian juniors and seniors have had enough. Just 2 days ago, Carlene Jean was surrounded by a group of boys and punched in the face on school grounds, her lips still swollen. The principal says he has video of the attack and is in the process of identifying the boys involved.
I just want them to stop the fighting.
Jerome Dunn is an assistant superintendent in the district. He came to the school when he heard what was happening. So what are you going to do today for these kids?
Well, right now, like I said, we're going to get to the bottom of who's responsible. That's our first step and our first priority, and to make sure the young ladies are okay.
Dunn says he knows there is an ongoing problem between some African American and Haitian students, a conflict he says the school cannot resolve on its own.
We need help. The police department, as well as parents and other community members.
The girls say they need help too, and today they got some as we were talking to them. This suspended student was found inside the school. The principal threw him out, and the Elizabeth police stopped him on the street. The girls told us he's one of the attackers. His ID was taken, and he was sent on his way.
Come on, ladies.
Carlene and her friends were escorted back inside the building with the assurance that they will be safe. But with 2,000 students in downtown nearby, it will be an uphill battle. And here's an update for you. Just before we went on the air, a spokesperson for this district came down to our live truck and told us those girls were escorted right into school by security. They went to the principal's office, sat down with the principal, watched the video of the attack, identified 3, possibly 4 boys who will now be suspended and prosecuted. This district is run by a superintendent who has a zero-tolerance policy for this kind of thing. The school says it simply will not be tolerated. We're live in Elizabeth. Phil Lipoff, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
There's tension and cultural misunderstanding.
An immigrant from Africa killed while he was sleeping in his own home. His death shedding light on a bigger issue in our community. We thank you for joining us here on Wave 3 News at 6. I'm Scott Reynolds. Shannon Cogan is off tonight. The victim, an innocent bystander. His killer still on the streets tonight. Community leaders saying it's another case fueling tension between the African American community and the African immigrant community. Wave 3 News reporter Myra Ansari joining us from Cecil and Greenwood Avenues, where that killing took place. And Myra, what kind of tensions are they describing?
Well, Scott, they tell me that it's an issue of misunderstanding between a lot of our youth here in the community. Tuesday morning, 5 bullet holes in this house. 33-year-old Ethiopian native Zememphis Tekli killed in his sleep.
To go like this is heartbreaking.
November 2008, Mohammed Abdul Rahman, an immigrant from Sudan, killed inside his store, New York Fashions. June 2012, 4-year-old Halima Bakar, her family is from Somalia, shot during a fight between two men. Many of the Africans here in Louisville come here for a safer life.
Most of the time we are running because we are afraid of being killed. So it is sad when somebody comes here and dies like that.
Victor Eddy is originally from Burundi. He's a part of New Hope International. He's seen the tension between the African American and African community for years.
There's different culture and misunderstanding between two groups.
Community activist Christopher 2X says the divide exists in the housing projects, where Africans and African Americans live side by side, but with very different lifestyles.
Some young blacks who lived in the neighborhoods and been living there essentially all their lives would mock them as far as their clothing wear and some of their cultural practices, if you will. And this could lead to tension. And then some of the young blacks would feel that some of the African immigrants wouldn't understand their struggle.
I grew up in the Smoketown community in Shepherd Square.
Lavelle White saw how Africans were treated when he lived in the old Shepherd Square housing complex. He says many were harassed for speaking a different language and for the way they looked.
The kids make fun of that and don't understand that they don't dress like them. And that was a big barrier that they're facing in school and the community.
And community activist Christopher 2X told me that there is a lot that the African immigrant and the African American community can learn from one another. Coming up tonight at 7:30, another community activist, Jera Muhammad, and Brothers Helping Brothers, they'll be holding a meeting to talk about the recent violence that we've seen here on Cecil Avenue. Reporting live from the Chickasaw neighborhood, Myra Ansari, Wave 3 News.